And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this third segment, we're going to talk about Brock Purdy and the situation that the Niners have going into this offseason. And really, it's a tough thing to ask, right? I mean, the Niners, this is the first time that they're going to miss the playoffs since 2020. Boo-hoo. And it's also going to be a rather important offseason for this team because they have to reacquire talent. They have to get rid of some talent. They have to decide whether or not they're going to get rid of Brandon Ayuk. They have to decide whether or not they're going to get rid of Deebo Samuel, all of those things. But the biggest priority right now is Brock Purdy and the quarterback situation. We already have somebody in the chats, Ash Owen. He says the Niners, they might trade Purdy. They can't do that because Brock Purdy is going to be a free agent. So they genuinely cannot do that. And to be honest, if you are the Niners, why would you trade Brock Purdy? It does not make much sense. But it's clear that, his contract is going to be, it could be a problem for the Niners. Now, it's not exactly confirmed, but Purdy could end up asking for around $59.7 million a year. And this would make him the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL behind yours truly, Dakota Prescott. And you know what? We might as well go ahead and get into this Dak Prescott talk because we know Dak Prescott, just a phenomenal quarterback. Just, the best, just one of the best quarterbacks, definitely deserves all of that money just to be mediocre and make the Cowboys suffer nothing but pain and misery. That is why we love Dakota Prescott. But, answering some more of the comments that Ash Owen has, and sign Aaron Rodgers. Again with the signing Aaron Rodgers thing, I cannot with this. Aaron should just retire. Period, done, end of story. They should not even bother with Aaron Rodgers. Why would they go with an old quarterback that seems to be already washed up to, instead of a younger quarterback that could probably make the team and build around the team a little bit better? It does not make any sense. It genuinely does not make any sense to me. And you already know that Aaron Rodgers is going to bring in all of his buddies from Green Bay and Devontae Adams, which is probably going to demand a lot of money. You have no idea whether or not it's going to demand money. We have no idea. But again, it's just drama. It's unnecessary drama that you're putting on this team. And that would be one of the dumbest moves, I think, if they genuinely try and get Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is done. Period, done. He should be done. Shanahan doesn't like Purdy. I don't like Purdy either, but again, I don't really like Aaron Rodgers more than I like Brock Purdy. Aaron, I feel like, is just a terrible option. Franchise and trade someone, will give up a first, keep it 100. No. I don't think any team is going to be shopping for Aaron Rodgers after what went down in this season with the Jets. And yes, obviously it wasn't completely Aaron Rodgers' fault, but Aaron should be done. I'm serious about that when I say this. This should be the final year of Aaron Rodgers. That's it. And I really don't think I don't think San Fran would want him. I genuinely don't think San Fran would want a quarterback like that, as opposed to a quarterback like Brock, who is much younger and can build around. That being said, he's going to demand a lot of money. Whether or not he is worth all of that money, in my opinion, is still something that needs to be seen. Because the way I see it, Brock Purdy is a product of the system that San Fran runs. The Niners have a fantastic team. I mean, George Kittle, Deebo when he decides to play well, Brandon Ayuk, all of them last season, they were incredible. They were great at getting open, and Brock Purdy, really all he had to do was be, at least in my opinion, be the facilitator for the team, and the rest of the team would get a bunch of yak, and they would get a bunch of touchdowns to make his numbers look good. And again, that's like an oversimplification of Brock Purdy, because I will say, you do have to be a really solid quarterback in order to make some of the throws and in order to do and run the offense the way that they're able to run it, at least from last season. However, since Christian McCaffrey has not been playing much and actually rarely played in this season, it's sort of shown that the Niners, they can't really be a playoff team with Brock Purdy unless he has somebody like Christian McCaffrey at the running back, like unless they are absolutely loaded with talent. And does that make Brock Purdy the second most paid quarterback? The fact that he needs these talented players at the position in order to legitimately succeed? I don't really think so. Talking about Purdy, someone will give up a first for Purdy. The Jets probably. Stop it. Stop. I don't see that happening whatsoever. No, stop it. What's most likely going to happen is that the Niners are going to eventually give in and they're going to offer this man this contract. But again, I don't think that that's going to happen. I'm not entirely sure if that's something that you would really want to do, but that seems to be the most likely scenario because I don't think the Niners are really going to give up Brock Purdy like that. I know there are going to be other teams that are going to be willing to shop for him, but whether or not they're going to give him that much money, I don't know. It's really, really tough because I don't see Brock Purdy as an elite quarterback that deserves that money, and I especially don't see Dak as an elite quarterback to deserve all that money either. And if we're being real, nobody in the NFL should be making all of that money. Like, why do you need all that money for? There's nobody that deserves to be making that money, and especially not Dak Prescott. But whether or not Brock Purdy is going to be in the situation to make that contract, he has the leverage to do so. But no, I'm not entirely sure. Purdy was an afterthought. Trey Lance was the original plan. Yes, and look what happened with Trey Lance. He is awful. He is terrible. And also, he's on the Cowboys with another bad quarterback, Dak Prescott. But, again, things happen, and Trey Lance had to have been, like, some other level of bad if he could not succeed with the lineup that San Fran had going into last season and going into the season where he was drafted. But one thing that Purdy said was that everyone's different, just with the timing of getting something done and whatnot. For me, I want to obviously get it done. If that's an opportunity to be able to get that done quick, that'd be great, just so we can get back for phase one, get after it with the receivers and our team, and just continue to grow because, man, we've all got to grow together. We've got to come close and learn and just be the best version of ourselves as fast as we can. And phase one, in my mind, OTAs, coming back, getting all the guys back, and let's roll. Let's get after this off season together. While the hope is for a deal to be done sooner than later, Purdy acknowledges that the timing could be different from an organizational perspective. Still, he sort of hopes to avoid any form of distraction, such as a holdout, which has been a strategy for some of his teammates in the past. But with that being said, everybody's timing is a little different, and Purdy acknowledged that. But for me, at the end of the day, I want to win. I want to win for this organization and everybody here. I'm not the kind of guy that wants to have any kind of drama associated with anything. I'm here for this organization, for my teammates in the locker room, and I want to be very professional about it. So maybe he won't end up demanding all of that money because he's clearly stated that he wants to win. So maybe he won't demand that money, but again, that money is still on the table and it is still an option. And to me, you have to be a bit of a fool in order to not really consider that option, Like, that seems like too good of an offer to pass up if you could be making that much money. But if at the end of the day your main goal is winning, we know the infamous evil Tom Brady, he ended up taking several pay cuts just so that the Patriots are able to acquire talent. Maybe he follows in those footsteps, which is really the only admirable thing that I think Brady has done in his career, the fact that he takes pay cuts. But, that's really besides the point. No, you rarely see many quarterbacks, at least right now in this league, take pay cuts. So I'm not entirely sure if Purdy is going to end up doing that either. But with that being said, that's all that I really have in this third segment. No, Aaron Rodgers is not going to San Fran. That is just not happening. That would be the worst thing that could happen to San Fran. For like, what would they even do with that? Just 2 years and that's it? They're probably not even going to make the NFC Championship game when they have Aaron Rodgers. Sad, but most likely true. But that's really all that I have in this third segment. Shanahan only wanted Purdy under cheap contract. Wouldn't you trade him to get value? No. Genuinely, no. I would not. I genuinely would not. Because who would they get? Like, who would be the next step at quarterback for this team? While I'm not really like all that high on Brock Purdy, I do have to admit that what they have going has been working. I do have to admit that what they've been doing has been working. So I don't think you really give up on a quarterback just because of one bad season. I don't see that happening. I genuinely don't. I don't think you do that. I mean, look at Dak. Dak always makes the playoffs and always loses and before people expect. And look at the money that he's making and look at the situation that Dallas is in. I mean, they still are a playoff team. I don't think you really give up on that just because of one bad season. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But those are my thoughts. Darnold, Fields, lots of people out there no. Justin Fields, no. Definitely not Justin Fields. I'm sorry, but Justin Fields is overrated. He was overrated by Chicago Bears fans. He's never had a solid season. It took him 3 years to have a game where he threw for 300 yards, and even then he still lost to a washed-up Russell Wilson. Sam Darnold, he's in a fantastic system, and that's the only reason why he's performing so well. I fully think that there's a very good chance that he ends up flopping in the postseason. Would not be surprised if the Vikings only play one playoff game. No. Neither one of those two quarterbacks are an option for me. Over Brock Purdy? Definitely not. Again, I'm not that high on Brock Purdy being an elite quarterback, but he is better than Darnold and he's better than Justin Fields. I'm sorry to say this, but that is just how it is in my opinion. Especially better than Fields. But those are just my thoughts. So we're going to go into the fourth segment where I talk about the Jimmy Butler trade update, because there is a little bit of an update. Again, I don't know if we really count this as an update because apparently there's not much really going on, and we're going to talk about that in the fourth segment right after this short break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.